Guys, what we're seeing right now is all connected. There are no coincidences in politics. I don't believe there's any coincidences in warfare. I don't believe there's any coincidences in the Iranian regime being supported, propped up, pushed forward by the left-wing arm of certain political parties. I don't believe that. And I believe it's all connected going all the way back. And some of you are going to freak out whenever I say this. But I believe this goes all the way back to what happened last year in Utah. And it was used to get to where we're at. We're going to talk a lot about that today. But this 47-year failure that we have seen since the fall of the Shah, and that goes back all the way to the end of Carter's presidency, if you want to call that. Every U.S. administration, Democrat and Republican alike, you had Reagan, Bush, you had both Bushes, so you had 4-8, you had 16 years of Republicans. You had a long time with Democrats, right? But every administration, Democrat and Republican alike, has kicked the Iranian can down the road. They feared some kind of regional war so much that they allowed this proxy war to bleed us dry. And for 40 years, it finally caught up. And now that Trump is cleaning up this diplomatic debris over, think about it, it's a half a century. Trump's suddenly the bad guy. He's targeting the heartbeat by identifying the biggest power plants first, going after their enrichment facilities. He's going after their missile silos. He's going after everything that the previous administrations were scared of and maybe funded. Now he's saying if Iran doesn't fully operate or fully cooperate and fully open the Strait of Hormuz, that he's going to take out their power grid. I want you to think about that. Can you imagine being without power for 48 hours, for a week, for 2 weeks, for 4 months, for 6 months, for a year? Think of all the people that would die because they're in hospitals, they're on CPAPs, they're on ventilators, all this other stuff. I believe that the Iranian government doesn't care about their people. You know that. But how can the left-wing arm in America not want to prevent this from happening? Because without a grid, the IRGC, the Iranian Republican Guard, their command and control, their drone manufacturing, it doesn't go anywhere. They can't do anything. So I would just like to ask you, friends, what we're witnessing, is this a return of American resolve, a brand of leadership that hasn't been seen in the White House for decades, for nearly half a century? Because a lot of these experts, these talking heads on their iPhones, taking an Uber to work, and they're experts, they're in the basements in their DC suburb apartments. They are trembling right now because Trump just did what this Ivy League diplomat class said was impossible. He gave Iran a deadline for compliance or a total systemic blackout. Think about that. From the 1979 hostage crisis all the way up until now, no one has decided to do anything. And it's strange. But now you've even got the pundits talking about this. You got Joey Jones bringing this up.
The attempted attack suggests the reach of Iran's missile capabilities may be much longer than expected. This Diego Garcia is 2,500 miles from Iran. Given that range, more European countries could be at risk of a missile strike. Fox News senior correspondent Mike Tobin is live in Tel Aviv, and he's got more on this. Mike?
So what he's talking about here is all of these countries, all these members of NATO are within striking range. That should scare a lot of them. Even, I believe, Piers Morgan came out and posted something on X, basically calling his own government. Yeah, here we go. I got it right here. British journalist Piers Morgan writes, so not only has Iran brazenly lied about its ballistic missile range capacity, but this means it can probably hit the UK with them. And we have zero, I repeat, zero defense against these missiles. So this clown is now even realizing that Donald Trump was right. He looks so constipated. I really thought drinking that much tea that he wouldn't be that constipated. Let me put my phone on silent. Thank you for the super chat or the Cash App from Terry. $20 Cash App. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. But what you're seeing is more affirmation, more confirmation that Trump was right. And that's what scares the hell out of the Democrat Party. I believe that's what scares a lot of people right now. They can't get over the fact that Trump was right. Not only him, but the people around him, his intelligence officers, his cabinet. See, all of these people that a lot of three-letter agencies you're going to hate, they were right. And that right there in itself says that Trump picked the right cabinet. Iranian outlet threatens regional blackout after Trump ultimatum. So now, thank you, Edwin. I really appreciate that. So now the Iranians are like, before we let Trump take out our power, we're going to take it out ourselves. We'll just shut off the lights and walk out. To hell with our people. Think about that. We got Iran warns it will hit U.S.-Israeli infrastructure if its energy sites are attacked. So now they're saying they're going to do the same thing to us that we're threatening to do to them. Quid pro quo. What do you think about that? It's a weird timeline we're in, is all I got to say. But I would say that we're vulnerable as well. I think we're vulnerable to all of the same things that President Trump is threatening them with. Let me know what you think. Do you think that we are, somebody says Iran can't do squat. Ron, I think you're wrong. Don't ever underestimate your enemy, Ron. They just launched some some medium range ballistic missile. Medium range, 2,400 miles, almost hit Diego Garcia. To say they can't do anything is a little, I think you're underestimating a lot of people. And I don't think I would do that. I would not underestimate people that don't care about human life. They don't care about anything. They have no reason to not just push all in, to use a poker term.
One of the things we hear a lot about in these conflicts is an escalation ladder. And when Iran fired the intermediate range ballistic missiles at Diego Garcia that Trey mentioned, 4,000 kilometers from Iran, that was an escalation that not only stunned the U.S., but the entire world, because Iran had not publicly stated that they had anything that could go more than 2,000 kilometers.
Well, I'll be damned. Iran didn't tell anyone what they had. But now Trump gets dunked on by the news media when he says, hey, I'm not going to tell you what we're doing. Remember Pearl Harbor? Think about this. Look at the range here. There are millions of people in this area. There's 90 million in the epicenter in Iran. I could see Iran launching missiles at their own people. I could see that.
And yet here now we know they have two 4,000 kilometer range intermediate missiles that fortunately did not impact anything, but it's a warning. It's a message that they have these capabilities that they didn't publicly state. In fact, under President Obama's JCPOA, there was no restriction on Iran's missile capabilities. They said they weren't building it. Now we know. And what is the danger? Why is the world on notice? Because look, from Rome, Munich, Paris, London, Berlin, Oslo, all now within this radius, these capitals, in many of these capitals in these countries do not have the missile interceptor technology like we have and like Israel has. So should a nuclear-tipped intermediate range ballistic missile be fired at one of these capitals, it could change the trajectory of humanity.
And it's not even if it hits the target. That's the crazy part. It does not have to hit the target to be dangerous. If you aimed at Berlin and it hits Munich, okay. If you aim it at Paris and it hits Rome, okay. If you aim it at Moscow, that's when World War III breaks out. They share a border with China, New Delhi. I mean, think about this. Iran doesn't have to hit the actual target that they want to cause some real chaos. They don't have to. But now the news media is, and some people are like, well, damn, they lied. They lied. They're criminals. They lied. Ghislaine Maxwell locked up. Oh, she would lie to get out of prison? Oh, wait, what? Wait, I thought everybody went to jail and got religion. And they became devout truth tellers. I'll tell you what else just happened. 22 countries are now saying they're going to help grow or continue to open the Strait of Hormuz. Trump has an uncanny ability to, number one, he's got a superpower, and I've said it before, expose people that hate America. That's Trump's real superpower. His other superpower is making other countries carry their own weight. Because now 22 other countries are chiming in that, wait, we might need some of that oil. We don't want Orange Man Bad controlling the Strait of Hormuz. We think we'll get involved. Think about that. Now, I'm going to tell you this. There's some other dots to connect with this. The Joe Kent dots, the Candace Owens dots, the Tucker Carlson dots, the Megyn Kelly dots, the Iranian regime dots. They are all connected. They are all connected. I said here about a year ago, actually, probably a year and a half ago, me and a good friend of mine were sitting right here on this channel, and we were talking about a little organization called Red Seat Ventures. Does anybody in the chat know what Red Seat Ventures is? Anybody know what that is? Anybody have a clue what Red Seat Ventures are? Because this is all connected. Every damn bit of it. And I said it a year and a half ago, and I'm going to show you here exactly how connected this is. Let me pull it up. Let me find my bookmark that I saved forever. Red Seat Ventures is an organization, and I want you to go look it up. Go look it up. Red Seat Ventures. Wait, let me go here. Is a marketing company. And some of your least favorite or favorite podcasters are involved. Let's go here. Red Seat Ventures powers the most influential creators in the world. You can advertise with them. You want to see who's all involved here? Red Seat Ventures. Let's go. We've got Tucker Carlson. Here we go. our creators, news and commentary. Look at these people all involved here. Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Brett Cooper, Piers Morgan, Bill O'Reilly, Dana Lash, Mike Baker, Jesse Kelly, Sean Spicer, Jillian Michaels, Halperin, Link Lauren. I don't know some of these people at the bottom. Brian Kilmeade, Will Kane, Greg Gutfeld, Jimmy Failure, Guy Benson. You start to see a trend here of where these people all worked. Huh? You start to see where all these people worked. Fox News. Fox News controls all of them. Look at here. A lot of people recently commented on how Megyn Kelly has a rule on her show that her guests aren't allowed to attack we'll call him Cucker. The reason for this is because Megyn and Cucker shows are both run by Red Seat Ventures, which is owned by Fox Corp. Remember, Megyn sued them for touching her on the doll or something. So what Tucker and Megyn have vested interest in attacking all of the conservative competition. It's ironic that Fox Corp now owns Red Seat Ventures, in a sense, the toxic culture, anti-American, anti-Jewish rhetoric. It's a weird one, isn't it? That this is all just a damn game to these people. It's all a game. This is, you are part of the game. You're a piece on the board. I'm going to show you something else here. So that's how it's tied together. Now I'm going to show you how it's rolled out. And this guy here, Patriot Dad, man, he did a little research, a little bit of research that he pulled out. And I'm going to say good job. I'm going to say good job for this guy. I've traded some, what do you call it? Intel with him. And I'm going to show you what he found, because what he found is pretty damn amazing. Joe Kent, Candace, Tucker, Megyn, all connected.
At this point, you couldn't convince me, even if you tried, that this stunt that we're seeing play out with Joe Kent is in any way organic. That letter he wrote the other day, total fraud. Question that I now have: how long has Joe Kent been working with Candace Owens? How long has he been tied in directly with the group of people who are actively engaged in trying to destroy the MAGA agenda and engaging in a color revolution against the American people in this country? How long has he been doing it? Do you remember Mitch Snow? Yeah, you remember Mitch Snow. You know, the fraudster that Candace Owens platformed and raised over $100,000 for, the one who accused Erica Kirk of being on base at Fort Huachuca the night before the super secret meeting that he just happened to walk in on. You know, the meeting that they alleged was the meeting they were planning the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Do you remember him? Did you see this?
I know Candace said you were vetted. Who vetted you?
Oh, geez. Yeah. You know, I let that slip once, and maybe I wasn't supposed to, but yeah, it was Joe Kent.
Wow. Okay. Now, I don't believe that Israel had anything to do with the death of Charlie Kirk, but I believe it was a very easy out. It was an easy out. It was a very easy opportunity. They took the path of least resistance. Started with Joe Kent, Candace Owens. I don't know who started it, but this is where it's been. I believe that Candace, Tucker, all these people are in a group chat, and it would be really good for us to be able to get some access to that.
She trusted him. Yeah, Joe Kent. He can take the records, go look it up, dial stuff in. He knows more about my records than I do. He has access to it straight up.
He has access, yeah. And Candace trusts him. Tucker trusts him. Megyn trusts him.
Seems like a lot of white hats that are in the know trust him.
I mean, you heard it. Mitch Snow is alleging that Candace Owens put him in direct contact with Joe Kent, the director of the National Counterterrorism Center, to vet him. so that she could feel comfortable putting him on her platform. And he did it. Question, Mr. Kent, how long have you been working with Candace Owens? How long have you been helping her to create the propaganda narratives that she has now been pushing across all of this country for the last 6 months? How deeply involved in providing information to Candace Owens have you been? It all makes sense now.
It all makes sense. Well, things are coming together. This is not organic. The way that things have been rolled out are not organic. You know it as good as I do. And the same people that are pushing a lot of this crap all push the crap at the same time. That's where you can't say it's organic. There's no way that all of this just happens at the same time. But Trump's the bad guy. Trump's a bad guy. Let me show you this. You want to see one that'll make your blood boil? I put it in a video yesterday. Senator Tom Cotton. Some of you might like Tom Cotton. I know him personally. I like Tom Cotton. Just listen to what he says here and then tell me, do we have any Joe Biden fans in the chat?
How many attacks has Iran or its proxies launched against American positions in Iran and Syria since Joe Biden took office?
It's been about 83 attacks, I think, since in the last several years.
That's a lot of attacks over 2 years. How many times have we retaliated against Iran or its proxies?
We've launched 4 major strikes, Senator, but an attack can consist of a number of things. It can consist of,
We were attacked 83 times. We retaliated 4. Okay. Somebody said, why was Charlie removed? I want to hear your best answer. Why was Charlie removed? Charlie was removed. I'm going to give you my answer after this.
A rocket that's fired in the direction of one of our bases, but not effective.
Mr. Secretary, I'm well aware of what an attack could entail. So 79-4 is Iran's record right now. And our 4 attacks have not been against Iran, right? They've been against Iran's proxies in Iraq or Syria or elsewhere. That correct?
This last attack was against IRGC, Quds Force infrastructure. And
okay. And after we retaliated, Iran attacked us again, injuring another American, didn't it?
They did.
And have we retaliated for that attack on Friday?
We have not yet, Senator.
So what kind of signal do we think this sends to Iran when they can attack us 83 times since Joe Biden has become president and we only respond 4? Maybe it's because they know that that we will not retaliate until they kill an American, which emboldens them to keep launching these attacks, which kill Americans.
I think this is a very great clip. I've been sitting on it for years. Lloyd Austin, he was probably on a vacation on the beach somewhere with Joe, drinking Mai Tais with Kilmar Abrego Garcia. But for the first time now, we're playing to win. That's what upsets them. Somebody wanted to know in the chat. I want to get your best reasons in the chat of why they got rid of Charlie Kirk. Feel free to give me your best reason. But now that we're at a point where we're at a crossroads where we have to do something about Iran. Trump's the bad guy. Trump bad, and more of these clowns are starting to expose themselves, not just in a movie theater this time, not just in a movie theater like Lauren Boebert. Boebert comes out swinging against Trump admin, requests for more Iran money. I'm not doing that. She says she's going full Marjorie Taylor Greene is what she's become. And it's, that's just the way that this game is played. It's the way that they're doing this. Lauren Boebert. I'm not even going to play the audio because I can't stand her, to be honest with you. But you're seeing the game play out. Marjorie Taylor Greene flips, Matt Gate flips, Tucker flips, Megan flips. They're all just opportunists, I guess. And this guy, I don't know what's happening to this guy. He's becoming more based, way more based. I don't understand what happened to Bill Maher. He might have had a head injury like Fetterman.
They can do a lot of damage, even if you knock out their Navy and everything else. We didn't. And also the uprising that we were hoping, and I was hoping, would come of this, and maybe it still will. But this is not 1944 in France, where you can have an underground, where you can smuggle in guns. We live in a surveillance state now. So nobody in that underground who might be, and again, it's probably 90% of the country in Iran. These poor people have been living under this horrible fascist theocracy. These people can't smuggle guns in. I mean, maybe somebody's got a plan there, but in a surveillance.
Did he just make the case for the Second Amendment? Because he said Iran didn't have guns. These poor people can't defend themselves. I think Bill Maher just went pro Second Amendment. That's what I like. I'm really happy to see this. Look how quickly that the UK changed their tune. Bill Maher changes his tune. Piers Morgan changes his tune. The United Kingdom changes their tune. The Royal Navy sending a submarine there, an S-boat. For those of you who don't know what that is, that's a fast attack submarine. They're sending an S-boat there with Tomahawk missiles to the Strait of Hormuz. Trump has a way of just showing everyone, showing the world who people really are. They saw Charlie as Trump's second in command. I don't believe that. I believe, if you want to know what my reason or my thoughts are on why they got rid of Charlie Kirk, 1 for yes, 2 for no. I don't even know if you want my reason for this. My opinion may not matter on this situation. Why is Cuba population still suffering? It isn't their fault. Heidi, you went to Cuba. You propped up their government. Go for it. You tell us, Heidi. I'm not going to Cuba while a communist government. Okay, we got some ones in here. You want to know why I think they got rid of Charlie Kirk? Let me pull this up while I tell you this. It's wild to watch people. I believe they got rid of Charlie Kirk for one reason only. The United States has a problem. Our biggest problem is we allow our enemy to teach our kids. And we allow our enemy to teach our kids on the taxpayer's dime. We allow our enemy to teach our kids on student loans. Student loans make up a very large portion of the economy. Not only that, student loans keep universities open. If you got rid of student loans and kids had to pay as they go to college or quit going to college, where would all of the blue-haired wackadoodles work at? Charlie Kirk was a perfect example of someone that didn't have a college degree. Charlie Kirk is a perfect example of someone that went to college, realized what was happening at the college, and said, I'm out. But he didn't stop there. He didn't keep that a secret. Charlie Kirk said, you know what? Not only am I not going to keep it a secret, but I'm going to go back to the very place where the indoctrination is happening, and I'm going to fill everyone in there. I'm going to go talk to these kids, and I'm going to let them know you don't need a college degree to be successful. You don't need a bachelor's degree in feminine dance therapy to have a good life. And you don't need to, more importantly, to have that level of student debt for the rest of your life. I believe that's why they got rid of Charlie Kirk. I think you throw in a little bit of his pro-life, pro-Christianity, pro-America. You throw in the ability that he had to teach young men to be young men, because that scares the leftist. What a man being a man scares people. And I believe that's why they got rid of him. That's why I believe. You might not agree with me. I don't care. You asked for my opinion. That's my opinion on why they got rid of Charlie Kirk. He was dangerous to the machine. He was dangerous to the way that they operated. But isn't it ironic to see the same people that are celebrating Charlie Kirk's, or were celebrating Charlie Kirk's death, are freaking out because of Donald Trump's tweet about Robert Mueller? He died. Good. I'm glad he's dead. He can no longer hurt innocent people. That's the same phrase or the same ideology I think about with the Jeffstein guy. Everybody freaks out about Epstein being dead. You could replace the first part of this. Jeffrey Epstein just died. Good. I'm glad he's dead. He can no longer hurt innocent people. George Floyd just died. Good. I'm glad he's dead. He can no longer hurt innocent people. Think about it. Go ahead. A lot of people are saying he's not dead. Prove it. Quit being a contrarian. Bigfoot is alive right now, right? Of course. And the 4 billion people with iPhones just magically can't get a photo of Bigfoot. And with the 8 billion people around the world right now with iPhones, they can't get a photo of Jeffstein. The guy's a narcissist. If he was alive, he would be in Times Square. Narcissists cannot hide. They cannot hide. They have to have attention. Okay? That's just the way it is. You know that. They cannot hide. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. But now we're suddenly, we're all shocked that Iran lied. Everybody's shocked Iran lied, right? We're all shocked that Tucker Carlson would have a guy like this on his channel. Tucker Carlson just had this guy on his show. His name is Professor Zhang. Any of you guys follow Professor Zhang? Listen to this. You'll love this one. This is the kind of guest that Tucker Carlson, I'm sure Sean Palmisano will have him on a show soon.
And okay,
tell us about game theory.
Yeah. So here's my grand plan. Okay, my plan eventually is start my own religion, and so I'm using this YouTube platform in order to test certain ideas that I will need for this new religion, and that's why I switch around a lot. So you know, if you're a fan of certain topic, you can get annoyed because then, like next semester I'll teach something completely different. Mm-hmm. But again, my goal is to be the Messiah. My goal is to
This guy just said his goal was to be the Messiah. That's the kind of people that Tucker Carlson brings on his show. Guy that wants to be the Messiah. I can't believe he said it with a straight face. Or crooked face, whatever you want to call it. I'm stunned that these people can say this. I'm more concerned with the amount of people that believe what they're saying. Let's check this poll. Did Joe Kent leak info? 95% of you say yes. 95% of you say yes, that it was Joe Kent. Okay. U.S. Ways Special Forces operation to seize Iran's enriched uranium stockpile. Do you think this is a good idea, or should we just leave it? Should we just leave it? 440 kilograms of Iranian or uranium that was probably sold to the Russians by Hillary Clinton, which was probably then given to Iran to use against other countries in the Middle East. Should we leave that or should we go and get it? I'd like your opinion on that. Let's do retrieve our uranium. Let's do this. Let's put a poll in the chat. Should U.S. forces go and get the uranium? Yes or no? And then let me know in the chat. Do you think it's a good idea, a bad idea? If you don't think it's a good idea, tell me why not. 440 kilograms of uranium would build some nuclear reactors, which would then lower the cost of energy. I am all for nuclear power, 100% nuclear power. I lived on nuclear power. I think if we went nuclear, more nuclear in the United States, everything's going to drop in cost. It probably came from southern Utah anyway. There's a lot. Uranium is high in that area. You can't leave that laying around. If we leave it laying around, you should look at some of the submarine disasters that have happened and then look at how many of those submarines are still at the bottom of the ocean. They always get retrieved because there could be weapons on board. There could be uranium on board. Submarine disasters are always retrieved. Always. Ask yourself why. Now, if we put a nuclear reactor in every country, every state in America, think about it. How low would your energy be? YouTube's blocking negative comments towards the other party. I have no idea. I don't believe they're blocking anything. If you say something stupid, it's probably blocked. It's probably blocked if you say something racist. Or the enemy could steal our submarine tech. Bingo. Absolute bingo. Iran is a very peaceful but fiery nation here. We'll talk a little bit about this. This is your Iran overnight. Let's go here. There we go.
48-hour ultimatum to Iran last night, threatening to obliterate its power plants if the Strait of Hormuz isn't reopened.
Chief Foreign Correspondent Trey Yingst is live on the ground in Israel with the very latest. Trey.
Yeah, hey guys, good morning. Right now we are in the city of Arad in southern Israel, where overnight an Iranian ballistic missile slammed into an apartment complex, wounding at least 100 people. I do want to just show you the scene behind me here. You can see damage to this building right here. These apartments totally gutted with rubble as crews are still on the scene, ensuring there are no unexploded ordinances and things like that. My cameraman Yaniv's going to pan over to this bus. You can see the shattered window of the bus, that windshield there, as this explosion took place, rocking the area. We have some video overnight showing the flames rising from these buildings as first responders arrived on the scene. Civilians were escorted out. This is an area packed with civilians. And it just gives you a sense of how dangerous these Iranian ballistic missiles are.
This is horrible. This is horrible. What's happening here? Somebody said, why put military headlines or military ops as a headline? Are you serious? Are you really? Are you? Okay.
Those strikes against Iran yesterday. All of this is taking place as the range for these missiles was shown directly by the Iranians over the weekend when they launched 2 ballistic missiles toward the Diego Garcia air base in the Indian Ocean. This is about 4,000 kilometers from Iranian territory. And the Israelis and the Americans say this is why the operation had to begin. Because
Diego Garcia is a platform that we use for bombers. That's why Iran launched these long-range missiles at Diego Garcia. This is Diego Garcia right here. That's why they launched it. This wasn't just, hey, let's lob something over there. They wanted to damage these 3, 4, 5, 6 I would say there's like 20 bombers there. Someone is still in charge in Iran. I don't know who, but someone's in charge. Someone's pulling the strings. It might not even be Iran. Iran might not be in charge. China could be pulling the strings here.
It gives you a sense of just how dangerous these long-range missiles are. Now, President Trump over the weekend issuing a new warning to the Iranian regime. He said on Truth Social, quote, if Iran doesn't fully open without threat the Strait of Hormuz within 48 hours from this exact point in time, the United States of America will hit and obliterate their various power plants, starting with the biggest one first. Thank you for your attention to this matter. President Trump clearly, again, coordinating with the Israelis who are continuing on an hourly basis their air campaign against the Islamic Republic of Iran. And at this site earlier today, guys, I interviewed Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. At the top of next hour, we will bring you his remarks. Guys?
And Trey, so just about where you are now, talking about the strike that's injured over 100, it's a reminder, it seems, that while we hear from the president and from Secretary Hegseth that they have greatly degraded Israel's missile capabilities, that this is a reminder they can still strike, and it is deadly.
Absolutely. Look, we are looking at a reduction in strikes from the early days of this war, but not Iran's inability to fire. The reality of this conflict is that Iran is still launching ballistic missiles and drones, not just at civilian residences in Israel, but also in Gulf countries. They're targeting energy infrastructure, and they have the ability to respond when and where they want to. And so entering into week 4 of this conflict, there is a very difficult...
They have capabilities. I don't believe we've wiped out all of their capabilities. We have damaged them greatly, but when they're launching missiles at Diego Garcia, somebody is in charge. Who? I don't know. Who do you think is pulling the strings in Iran? I don't know. I just threw this up there, spitballing. Could Obama be pulling the strings in Iran? Yes, no, or I'm crazy. Am I crazy for even thinking that? I could be. I could be crazy for even thinking that. But at the same time, we know that we've got sleeper cells here in our government, in our country. We know we've got sleeper cells. We know the capabilities and how cheap it is. Mother Russia, you could be right about that. Mother Russia could be behind this. Putin didn't really get a lot of criticism from Obama, did he? Obama signed off the sale of the uranium to Putin. Check this out. This happened right here in the United States. I want to show you this. Is this a coincidence? Find some clips of Obama criticizing China or Putin. Find some clips. I looked. I'm sure Hellbound or Hellhound or Go to Hell, whatever his name is.
Tales emerging about the drone sighting that caused a lockdown at one of the largest and most strategic Air Force bases last week.
A confidential internal briefing document reviewed by ABC News reveals that the situation in Louisiana may have been more dangerous than first reported.
ABC's Aaron Katersky joins us here with exclusive reporting. Aaron.
Sade, an unauthorized drone raised alarms this month at one of the nation's most important Air Force bases. And ABC News can now report it was far more serious and potentially more dangerous than the military first let on.
Confidential briefing document reviewed by ABC News is disclosing that what was thought to be a single unauthorized drone flight was actually wave after wave of multiple illegal drone incursions over Barksdale Air Force Base near Shreveport, Louisiana, for nearly a week. Document called those incursions a significant threat to public safety and national security. Between March 9th and March 15th, the document said Barksdale security forces observed multiple waves of 12 to 15 drones operating over sensitive areas of the installation, which houses the Air Force's Nuclear Command and B-52 bombers. A spokesman confirmed Barksdale Air Force Base detected multiple unauthorized drones operating in our airspace during the week of March 9th. The spokesman said, "We are working closely with federal and local law enforcement agencies to investigate these incursions." The drones were unlike what's commercially available. They were high-tech, with a much longer range, and are resistant to jamming.
Certainly, it seemed to be more than just your average drone enthusiast who just...
Who's in charge of this? Who is pulling the strings here? It's kind of weird, isn't it? Coincidence?
Pushed it too far. It looked like this was deliberate and intentional to see just how they would react. And seeing this probe on a base inside the United States is very troubling.
These incursions came little more than a week after the start of the war in Iran, where drones have become a weapon of choice. The document we reviewed said the unauthorized flights are likely to continue. American law enforcement officials have long been concerned, guys, that the United States homeland is just ill-equipped to deal with drones and need to make the defenses better.
You know, just hearing this, I'm thinking, why didn't they just shoot one of those down to try to gain access to some of the tech and information?
They don't want to know. Nobody wants to know. Hold on, let's go here. There we go. They don't want to know. I don't remember what I said. The easiest way to keep somebody under control, keep them scared. Keep them scared. Right? Keep them scared, throw stupid stuff at the wall. That's probably the easiest way to keep anything under control. You tell me what you think. But I don't believe any of this is a coincidence. You're seeing this in airports right now. This is an airport in, I believe this is Atlanta is where this is at right now. Look at this airport. Atlanta Hartsfield International Airport right now. 2-hour wait. TSA is shut down. Coincidence? I'm going to go ahead and say no. I don't believe that that's a coincidence. The range of these missiles, the capabilities. What do they launch at next? They're going to launch at one of these major cities. And when they do, there's going to be a big, giant, I told you so. Look at the capabilities there. Europe would be crazy if something like happened there. Something happened there. I don't care where it happens. It's going to be bad. But I don't put anything past them because, you know, they've got people like this that would never lie to you. Why would they ever lie to you?
Mr. Arachi, if I may, we heard from the president first in his State of the Union address that took place on Tuesday and again this morning in recorded remarks that I'm sure you've heard. The president said, among other things, that Iran has been building missiles that, in his words, could soon reach the American homeland. So as it relates to Iran's ballistic missile capabilities, does Iran now have the capability to reach the U.S. homeland? How far removed is it from that capability?
No, we don't have that capability. We have intentionally kept the range of our missiles below 2,000 kilometers. So we don't have that capability, and we don't want to do that because we don't have any hostility against, the United States people and or Europeans or whatsoever. We have built that capability in order to defend ourselves against our enemies. And our missiles proved to be the most reliable means of defense for us. So obviously we cannot compromise on our missiles.
So the leader of Iran says that they kept it to 2,000 miles, 2,000 kilometers. So we got to believe it. NBC says it's true. We got to believe it, right? It's the way it is today. That is the way that things are happening. Guys, gals, girls, take care. I'll catch you on the road.